So as you know, each year we celebrate Dot Day, and this year we're going to be creating our own Dot Day book, inspired by the book written and illustrated by Peter H. Reynolds. So let's get started. These are the materials you'll need. You will need a box of markers, lots of different colors, water-based. You'll need a pencil and eraser. And you'll also need your printout of your Dot Day book. Now, it doesn't matter which side you start with. You can start on this side, or you can turn it around and start on this side. So if you need help reading the directions, make sure you get mom or dad or whoever's home with you to read. But the first question says, do you ever feel like Vashti from our story? And yes, I absolutely feel like Vashti sometimes. That might surprise you since I'm an art teacher, but sometimes I get frustrated. And it also says, what do you really want to do well? And my most important goal is to be a really great art teacher to all of my talented art students. So I'm writing this in marker, but you can feel free to write it in pencil. So next I'm going to read the directions, and it says fill in the background. Make dots around the dot. So if you remember from the story, Vashti actually made a dot by making dots all around a center dot. So essentially she's using the negative space to create a dot. So I have decided to use cool colors to create my dot without creating a dot. You decide what color scheme that you want to use. Okay, all finished with my cool colors. Looks good to me. Next, we're going to move on to creating our own dot show. And if you notice, there's even lines at the bottom, so if you want to make a title for your dot show. But these are just canvases and papers so that you can get creative and make whatever kind of artistic dots that you would like. Have fun with it. So once you put some kind of dot picture on each canvas, then you can flip your paper around to work on the other side. So the first one that I see says, what will this dot become? So you can essentially use that black dot to create your own picture. And I think what I want to create is my turtle, Picasso. So I'm going to take my black marker, only because it would be hard if I worked in pencil for you all to see what I was drawing. But if you prefer to use pencil, then go ahead and do that. Now, once you've turned your dot into whatever kind of picture that you want, don't be afraid to take your time and add a little color to your book. There are lots of different opportunities to fill in the paint set that is at the bottom of the canvas. You could color in the swirly frames. So really make your book beautiful. The next step is the easiest one. So we get to practice signing our artwork. If you remember, Vasti's art teacher told her to sign her dot. So I'm using cursive, but you can always print if you don't know how to do cursive, and sign your name. Next, we get to move on to the canvas on the easel, where we can create any kind of dot creation painting that we would like. So again, take your time, have fun, color baby color. To complete our Dot Day book, we will decorate the cover. So I think that I want to put a dot that's very similar to the cover of Peter H. Reynolds' book. So I'm trying to create a dot by mixing some of those oranges and yellows. You could also color the frame if you would like, just like that. So now let's turn our flat piece of paper into a book. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is fold your paper in half, which I've already done. I'll fold it vertically and horizontally, and then I will use those folds to make smaller folds so that I will have 8 boxes in total. Now I will also be adding an instruction page. Once I have my folds, I'm going to use my scissors to cut in the middle of the piece of paper. I'm going to stop right at that fold so that your paper can kind of talk. It has like a mouth inside of it. I'm going to pinch the middle folds and watch very carefully. I'm going to take those flaps now and I'm going to pull them apart. Do you see how it kind of looks like a plus sign? I'm going to press the creases like so. And then I'm going to fold the pages around so that the first page you should see is start with a dot. So once you make your folds, just kind of check over your book, make sure that it turns like a real book, the pages, and enjoy your creation. So next we're going to work on part 2. Don't feel like you have to do all of these assignments in one day, because we certainly won't be doing them all in one day on Hawken campus. So let's talk about the materials that you're going to need for part 2. So to get started, you will need a piece of paper. We're working on a 9 by 9 square piece of paper. You're going to need a paintbrush. You'll need your watercolor set, and you'll need a water dish. Now you know that I use dirty old SpongeBob, but if you want to use a paper towel, that's perfectly fine too. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put water inside of my watercolor paints. The reason why they're called watercolor paints is because you use a lot of water to get them nice and juicy. So I've decided to go with an orange. You can choose whatever color that you want. Now notice, we here on campus are starting with a dot sticker, just so it gives us a starting point. But if you don't have a circle sticker, you can just start by painting a dot in the center of your paper. So I'm going to go over my orange a little bit more. Now with watercolor paint, every time you go over it and layer it, it will get darker, the color will get more bright and vivid. So now I'm going to clean my brush, and I'm using a yellow. Now it is your decision if you want the effect of your colors blending together. So I don't mind the yellow blending into the orange because I know they are analogous colors, which means they're right next to each other on the color wheel, and they will blend really pretty together. Now, if you don't want your colors to blend together, then you should definitely wait for your areas to dry. So if I mixed a green with an orange, it probably would make a muddy kind of brown color when they were mixed together. So you see I'm painting a dot and leaving some space so that orange gets a chance to dry. Don't be afraid to turn your paper so that you can fill in the area and get around that circle. And remember, the more you layer your colors, the darker it will be. The more water you add, the lighter your paint will appear. So next I'm going to go around with a blue, and I'm not going to worry about my blue and my green mixing together because they're both cool colors. I know that cool colors mix well together, so I'm just going to paint around my circle. And just because I'm using blue, don't feel like Miss Mullins-Means is using blue, so I have to use blue. If you want to do a rainbow dot, if you want to do a cool color dot, if you want to do a warm color dot, that is your choice as an artist. So once I'm done painting, I'm going to give my dot a chance to dry. Now notice I did leave a white area. That's fine with me, but if you don't want a white area in yours, go ahead and paint it a different color. So I'm going to wait for my dot to dry, and then I'm going to add some patterns to it. Now, I'm going to leave this up to you. It's your choice.